I'm Alan, and I'm going to talk about George Foster. And my situation is going to be I'm at Reds Fest in Cincinnati at the Duke Energy Center, and I get to make a speech about my favorite Reds player. Here we go. I would like to have the opportunity to do this speech about George Foster because he is one of the all-time great Reds, and he's my favorite player I've ever seen play the game. He's my hero because about 8 or 10 years ago I met him at a Reds game. And he was really nice and signed a couple things for me, and I got a picture with him. And it was just really nice the way he acted towards me. He acted like I wasn't just any other fan. He acted like I was something special to him. Just a few facts about George Foster that made him one of the best players of all time. He did play for the Reds. He was an outfielder. He started his career with the Giants, though, in 1969. For the Reds, he played from 1971 to 1981. And then after his stint with the Reds, he went on to play for the Mets and the White Sox. He played on one of the best baseball teams of all time, arguably the best, which is the Big Red Machine, which everybody knows about who knows anything about baseball. They won back-to-back World Series in 1975 and 1976, and they were the best team of all time. They had the best player of all time, Pete Rose, who has over 4,000 hits. They had the best catcher of all time, Johnny Bench. The best second baseman of all time, Joe Morgan. The list goes on and on. George Foster was a 5-time All-Star. All those were with the Reds. He won 2 World Series, as those were the ones with the Big Red Machine in 75 and 76. He won the Silver Slugger Award, and that's like a batting title. They give one out to each position, who's the best batter at each position in the game. And he got his, I think he played right field. And he won, his best award was the 1977 NL MVP. He led the league in home runs and average that year. And he is a Reds Hall of Famer. So in Cincinnati, you go to the Hall of Fame, he has his own special section. But he will probably be in the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown here pretty soon because of his performance for the Reds. And he was the back-to-back home run champion in 1977 and 1978. He had, I believe, 56 and 58 home runs in those 2 years separately. And in his career, he batted .278, which is pretty outstanding because the average player now bats about .225 or .230. And he had 348 home runs. And for the time period he played in, that was a very large amount of home runs. Other than Willie Mays and Hank Aaron, they both had a whole lot of home runs. But he just seems like he would be a great person just to meet, more than just the time I met him. He seems like somebody you could just hang out with and talk, and he wouldn't act like he was better than you or anything else. And he has one of the best personalities of any player I've ever seen. Whenever you just watch him in an interview, you can just tell that he's not a rude or hateful person. He's just a nice person in general. And that doesn't come often with people who are famous or rich or anything like he is. But back to his MVP year, that was saying a lot just because of the team that he played on. He played on one of the best teams in baseball that had, like I said, Johnny Bench and Joe Morgan and Pete Rose. And those 4 people were probably the top 4 people in baseball that year. So it was tough competition that he was trying to get that with. And let's see. He ended his career with the White Sox in 1984, I believe. And that's a pretty long stretch for a baseball player. That's 15 years. And he played for the 4 teams in 15 years, which that's, compared to the players today, that's not very many teams. But he always comes back to Cincinnati every year to watch quite a few games, and they always honor him and the rest of the Big Red Machine every year. So he'll go down in history as one of the greatest Reds of all time, and probably end up being one of the greatest players of all time. And I feel certain he'll be in the Hall of Fame. Thank you for letting me give this speech.